Welcome back to my yoga stretching series. As you know, my name is Rachel, and in this series we really focus on stretching different parts of the body using our yoga poses. Today we're going to focus all on the outer hips, so the outer part, the glutes, the external rotators, all along here. Okay, so to begin though, let's start in our child's pose. So bring your big toes together, knees wide, forehead down, and just stretch your arms out. And take a couple deep breaths here. Check in with your body at the beginning of every yoga practice. Walk your hands to the right side of the mat, left hand on top of the right. Just create a little stretch through the left side of your body. And then walk into the left side, right hand on top of the left. Bring it to center, come up to a tabletop position. Let's just do a couple cat-cows first before we really get to those hip stretches. Inhale, drop the belly, arch the back, gaze up, cow pose. And then exhale, tuck your chin in, round your back for cat. Just warming up your back here, loosening it up. Inhale as you arch. Exhale as you round. One more time. Inhale to arch. Exhale to round. And then you find a flat back. We're going to come into down dog. We won't be holding it too long. We won't do a lot of weight-bearing poses today, but just to help us transition through some of the yoga stretches. So plant your hands shoulder width, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, feet hips width, and maybe bend one leg at a time there. Walk it out a little bit. Stretch your calves, your hamstrings. Notice how the backs of your legs feel. When you're ready, pressing those heels towards the mat, pushing your chest back to your thighs. And then our very first stretch today is going to be lizard pose. So we'll lift that right leg up and step it outside that right hand. All the way to the edge of the mat and put your left knee down and untuck the toes. So you want your right foot right at the edge of the mat. Your knee should be directly over your ankle, not past it. All 5 toes are pointing straight forward. Now hands on the inside of the foot. If you have yoga blocks, I forgot to grab mine out for you, but you can put your elbows on blocks if they don't reach the floor. Or you could just stay on your hands. If your elbows do make it to the floor, let's come all the way down to the elbows. So again, mostly we're focusing on the outer hip today. However, all of these stretches, depending on what feels tighter, you might feel it a little bit in the inner thigh, you might feel it in that hip flexor of the back leg, and all of that's okay too. It's all good, right? It's important to stretch the hips, the legs. So once you get into these poses, just kind of settle in and breathe and notice how your body's feeling here. We're trying to let go of tension and create space in those areas. Let's take a few more deep breaths here on the first side. Now in order to transition for some of these poses, we will use our down dog. Come up to the hands and just step back to down dog. No chaturangas in our yoga stretching, right? No vinyasa. Reset for a moment in down dog, and then when you're ready, switch sides. Lifting that left leg up, step it outside your left hand. Right at the edge of the mat, drop that right knee down. Now, it might not just go there in one step, so take a few steps or use your hand to physically move your foot up there to make sure your knee is over your ankle, all 5 toes point forward. Hands, blocks, or elbows on the inside of that foot, stretching out into this left hip. Maybe noticing a difference between the sides, right? Again, not necessarily good or bad, but if one side's tighter, it's important to focus on that, right? And work on stretching that area. And over time, make sure you stretch both sides, but over time, it might start to even out a little more. Couple more deep breaths on this side. Now come up to your hands. We're going to go back to our down dog. Reset again for a moment. Now this time we're going to go back to the right side, but we're going to be setting up for our half pigeon. Just keep in mind if that bothers your knee, you can always modify modified laying on your back for number 4. You can also use lots of props here to help you. Lift the right leg up, bend the knee, bring it forward, put your right knee directly behind that right wrist, straighten that left leg out, and see if you can kind of wiggle it back, slide it back. Your right knee should be directly in line with the hip. This foot can be close to you, but make sure you're not sitting on it. Now if your hips are up really high, maybe just wedge a block or a blanket or a pillow underneath that hip to help you out. And then you fold forward. Now as you fold, you also want to ideally be able to rest your forehead on something. Blocks, pillows, blankets, or if you don't have any of those, maybe just putting it on your fist so you can relax your neck. Now, only if your hips are on the floor, you have no props, and you feel like maybe you need a little more of a stretch, that's when you can start to move this shin away from you. Otherwise, if you're using props or if you're feeling it a lot already, keep that foot close to you. If you're not feeling much, maybe a couple inches out, maybe a little further out. The most, though, that you might move it is shin parallel with the front edge of the mat, creating that 90-degree angle. Now, if you do move your leg forward, make sure you flex that foot. And you still square your hips and you're not leaning to the right side. You're leaning equally through both hips. So folding forward, leg anywhere that you want, right? Figure it out, try it both ways and see what gives you a better stretch. And then you fold. And you should definitely be feeling that in the right outer hip, but like I said before, depending on what's tighter, you might feel a little in the inner thigh or the back hip flexor, and all of that's good too. Walk your hands in. We'll go back to down dog in between sides, maybe a 3-legged dog. Open up that hip, bend the leg, shake it out, draw a few circles, and then we'll meet in down dog. And when you're ready, you'll switch sides. Lifting that left leg up, bending the knees, you bring it forward. Left knee behind the left wrist, slide that right leg back as far back as you can to help you square your hips and get your hip on the floor. Now again, grab those props if you need them, wedge them underneath the hip or the forehead. This foot starts close to you, and then maybe 1 inch at a time. Over time, it might start to move further forward. Please don't force it. If you feel it in your knee, don't do it, right? That's always the rule. If you feel it in your knee, don't do it. Bring your foot back in. If that still bothers your knee, lay on your back and make a figure 4. If you do move it forward, though, make sure you flex the foot. That will help protect your knee, and make sure you square your hips and lean the weight equally between both hips, not leaning to the side. Once you've got yourself situated on this side, you fold forward. Keep in mind, one side might be different. It might not look the same. As long as you feel a good stretch in that left hip, that's what we're going for. Walk your hands in. One more down dog. Last time. Lift that left leg up, shake it out. And then just take a moment in down dog, kind of check in, see how everything's feeling, and then we'll have a seat. We got one more stretch here for the outer hip and lying down number 4. So as you lay down, you cross your right ankle over your left thigh and flex the foot. If your hips are feeling pretty tight, you might keep it here and just use your right hand to push the leg away. But if you can, you're going to reach your right arm through the middle, left arm around, and either grab your hamstring or maybe all the way to the shin. This left foot, you can just relax it, but the right foot, this side, that's the one you want to flex, and then use the arms to pull it in. So it's similar shape to that pigeon, right? Lying down number 4, stretching the outer hip, and now you're just using the arms to help you. We'll just be here for a few moments. Now keep that figure 4, but let go and put your left foot down. Open your arms straight out like a T, and then twist to the left so that your right foot ends up on the ground with that right knee pointing up. And then turn your gaze and look to the right. So just a different variation on a spinal twist. Bring it to center. Switch legs, starting with that number 4. Right foot down, left ankle across, either staying here and pushing the leg away or reaching through, grabbing your hamstring or shin. Flexing the left foot, relaxing the right foot, and then using the arms to pull that leg in, stretching into that left outer hip a little more. Now release and put the right foot down. Open your arms back out to a T. Twist to the right so your left foot ends up on the floor with the knee pointing up. And then turn your head, maybe look to the left. Bring it to center. Happy baby. Grabbing behind your knees or grab the inside edges of the feet. Lengthen the tailbone down, flex the feet, push down with your hands. You're actively trying to push your knees towards the floor on the outside of your ribs to get that stretch in the hips. But then you can also give it a little rock side to side, massage your back. Good. Hug both knees in. Rock and roll forward and back now 2 or 3 times until you're ready to come up to seated. Great work. Hopefully your outer hips feel nice and open. This is a great one you can always come back to whenever that area is feeling tight, or check out all my other yoga stretching videos as well as all different series I have on YouTube, right? Make sure you subscribe, Rachel Silverman Yoga. You can also find me on Instagram at Rachel_yoga. Have a great day.